is family to me. Not only the fans, but the players, the staff. Everything about this place is my home.
Hello and welcome to the club. I'm your host Mars, and this is the Upper 90 Club, a roundtable podcast where five friends, well, today I think it's actually four friends, discuss the U.S. men's national team and how they crashed and burned out of the World Cup. Like after group stage. This is our uncut reaction to the USA's loss to the Netherlands. With me in the club, I have Ben, Trey, and Haas. Say hi, guys.
I'm not crying.
Hello.
You're crying.
Good evening.
Mort is on a trip. He provided some reaction recordings that we will get to later. So just want to go around the horn here real quick. Before we got on, I was reading about the word of the year. I'm excited to ask you guys about that. But before I tell you what that is, I want to see if you guys know what the word of the year last year was. It should be very easy. Any guesses, Ben?
Like, is this the one that was like added to Webster's dictionary?
I don't know enough about it to comment.
Let's just say yes.
Yeah,
Probably.
definitely.
Okay. Probably Minecraft. No.
Okay. Okay. All right. Trey? Last year, 2021. What was going on in 2021?
That was like 20 years ago.
Gonna say COVID.
Yeah, pretty close. Right
Wow.
vein. Right vein. Haas. Now you can build
He's just
on
shaking
that.
his head
Can you
for
build on
the
that?
viewers at home.
Pandemic.
No, that was actually,
Pandemic.
you know, that word actually existed.
Yeah,
before
I know.
2020. No, the word was vax. VAX.
Vax. Oh, okay.
All right. So
Wow, Trey, that was a good job.
So anyway, I was just reading this article tonight before we got on here, and this is just so toilet world that I had to share it. So in the past, Oxford, what do they call them? Lexicologists or whatever, they would decide what the word was based on, what it like.
Is lexicologist a word? I mean,
They would
you're wearing
decide.
glasses, so I believe
paid
you.
for this?
Holy cow.
They would say, they would look at the stats and say, okay,
What
this is the word
stats?
of the year.
Word stats?
Yeah,
You know how phones
Wordle?
are constantly
Like word
recording
cloud.
everybody's conversation.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
like how many times things show up.
The internet.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
it.
And they would kind of decide like, oh, vax is the word. This year, what they did, and this is, I think, a mistake, but they took the top three and then put it out to a vote, so people would vote. So the three words this year were, metaverse, hashtag I stand with.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And
Multiple words.
and it's technically, I think that is one word. However, because there are no spaces, but the third one was goblin mode.
Goblin mode.
And that is in fact two words. Okay.
So Goblin
Hold on.
World was?
So what do you think won?
Goblin
You were
vote for
voting.
Goblin mode for
Let's
sure.
go around. What would you vote for? What would you vote for if you were voting between metaverse, hashtag I stand with, and goblin mode? Actually, two words.
Oh, I'd vote Goblin mode.
Goblin mode.
Also,
for sure.
since we're all voting Goblin mode, can we provide the definition as we think it is?
Yeah. That's a great idea. That's
For some odd reason,
because
I've
we're all
never
too
heard of
old.
that.
Right. I did not
Yeah.
know what it was. I learned it in the article, and then I actually had to look it up because it wasn't even clear from what I read in the article. But
Yeah, there's
okay,
no way.
so Ben, what do you think? Explain goblin mode and use it in a sentence.
Okay. So my name's Mr. Webster, and it is goblin mode, and the definition is creeping around like a creep, like late at night, hammered.
Okay.
And I would use it in a sentence like, I went to OU, so it'd be like, oh, I went to the Union, got all weird, and I creeped around goblin mode style.
Okay, so you would have added style to it. Like the word would have been goblin mode style.
Sure.
I like it. All right, Trey. Take a crack at it. How would you use goblin mode?
I think it would mostly have to like describe meth addicts, like hoodies up, shoulders.
It is on the rise.
I think that when we blend these definitions together, I think we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
Haas, what about you?
I think goblin mode probably comes from Fortnite and getting on some sort of streak with kills, dominating everybody. I went goblin mode all over those kids.
You're the farthest up. So I'll read you what's in the article. It says a slang term referring to a type of behavior which is unapologetically self-indulgent, lazy, slovenly, or greedy. Typically in a way that rejects social norms. So, and then the birth of this was, let me see. I had it pulled up here. Anyway, I think Kanye West was describing his girlfriend, and he broke up with her because she went goblin mode on him. So, so that's the word of the year.
Okay.
Mine's like opposite. I'd be like, marry me.
All right. So now that we know what everyone is thinking, let's get into this game and just try to put some closure on this cycle. Talk about the game specifically. Go through what our outlook is coming out of this World Cup, and go from there. So let's start with the lineups. Ben, you want to go through that?
Yeah, sure. I also want to say before we get started, we should probably try to fit in goblin mode at some point during the reviewing of this.
Because I'm sorry, I thought that went without saying. So
Okay,
we're not going to
understood
sign off
what it
until we've each used goblin mode. And
because we were all
you can use it correctly or incorrectly.
It doesnment matter. Yeah. I still don't exactly know the definition, so I'll definitely use it both correctly and incorrectly.
Excellent.
So, all right. Lineup was almost what is to be expected. Sargent was out, so there was no way he was going to start up at top. So it was Turner, Dest, Robinson, Ream, and he went with Zimmerman over CCV in the back. MMA midfield, and then you had Weah on the right, Pulisic on the left per usual, and he started Ferreira, who has not seen a minute, but decided to start him for the biggest game to date of his tenure. So that's who we started as a number 9.
Any thoughts on all that? I mean, Zimmerman was out, he's back in starting. Any thoughts on that?
Okay, so at the time, let's talk about kind of like at the time. So at the time when I saw the lineup, I was impressed with CCV the game prior, and especially knowing how the Netherlands rolled out and how they decided to play, it would have been a lot better to start CCV. But I wasn't bummed about Zimmerman starting. I was like, well, it was a little scary because the Netherlands on the other side, Memphis Depay, and also Gakpo, who scored in every single game. I mean, you're tasking, the Twitter plebes will say like, well, Zimmerman's an MLS, level, whatever. And he's going against, a Barcelona striker and this Gakpo who's like going to be sold for $1 billion as soon as the Netherlands are out. That being said, I thought he did pretty well. And Ferreira starting up top, if Sargent's out, and I know Greg's only going to start a 9 as a 9. So he came out and said, like, I'm only using the 3 strikers that I have. I thought Ferreira would fit better going against these guys running around than, Haji Wright. Trey, what did you think? I mean, we kind of talked about this, and so did Haas too. Zimmerman was all right, but what do you think about Ferreira? I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't have, based on the Sargent injury, I had no issue with the starting lineup.
Sure.
You could have substituted Zimmerman for CCV, but I think that's an after the fact look at it. And honestly, Ferreira, I don't think he didn't get a great score on FOTMob for his performance, but I really didn't think he was that bad. He didn't change the game, but he didn't lose it for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I wasn't upset when it came out. I wasn't upset when it started. So yeah, the lineup to me was fine.
I mean, I didn't want him in there, but we didn't have another option. Like starting Haji Wright wouldn't have done anything, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he could have done something crazy and moved away to the middle and brought Gio in and on the outside, or even play Gio up top. But at the end,
we
of
knew
the
that
day,
was out.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, that would be the only other thing that I would have been impressed if he would have done.
Yeah, and that being said, yeah, absolutely. But everybody is saying, "Oh, try Gio at a 9, try Nweye at a 9." And we murdered Jurgen for doing this, and pretty much every coach we've seen in the U.S. men's national team is playing people out of position. And I still now will say, do not play people out of position. If you're playing day in, day out for a club at a certain position, and you come into a different system and a whole different position, and you're like, hey, play this new thing. And they're like, well, okay, for the past 5 years, I've been like playing at a really high level at this. I mean, like they can play other positions, but it's not been, I can't cite anything that's been like super successful.
I'm with you. Do what you do it well, maintain it, and switch it up in the second half. And he did that. So yeah, I mean, starting lineup to me was what I expected. And I think it's probably the best that we could have rolled out with the players. I mean, you could, like I said, you could switch up Zimmerman for CCV and Ferreira for throw in what other name you want to, but
it had been a right.
Yeah, I mean, so
okay,
really unfortunate to not have Sargent. I mean, I thought he did so well in that last game. And
he did
made a big difference up front for us, but is what it is.
Yeah. So we played the best team we could have.
Yeah. And I do want to say this once before we move on. So the other team had Gakpo, who is has been doing really well this tournament, scored in every single game. He is a striker in the Eredivisie playing for PSV. I just wish the U.S. would have had a really hot striker from the Eredivisie playing instead of, we did, Ricardo Pepi. Playing in the exact same league.
But Pepe wasn't going goblin mode yet.
And he's so hot.
You were the first one. I mean, for me, I would have rather have seen, Pepe over Haji Wright or Ferreira. But whatever. I just wanted to throw that out there. I won't say it again, but
all right.
It's
so
just like, okay.
Thoughts on the first half? How do you think we started? What were the Dutch doing compared to what we were? Let's start talking about that.
Yeah, sure. I'll start. They came out in a 3-4-3, which is my personal favorite way to line up. And what they do is they run 3 in the back, then they run wing backs, so they run 4. So the problem with the 3-4-3 is it gets rid of out and out wingers. So they run a 3-4-3, but it's basically a 3 and then 2 wing backs, 3 in the middle, including a number 10, a playmaker, and then 2 strikers, which is awesome. And it's very hard to defend. They came out and they are known, and we knew this prior to, they were like, all right, so the Netherlands, they give space on the outside. That's the other problem with having wing backs. Because they're going up and back, they provide a lot of space on the wings. And we knew that. But what they actually did is, surprisingly, they kind of shut down. And anybody else can speak to this because I only watched the game once. I'm not going to watch it again. But I thought they shut down our like Robinson and Dest coming down the sideline. Like the outside was not an option like they were in their knockout round or their group rounds. So they did something completely different. I think Daily Blend and Dumb Fries, which is how you actually say it, Dumfries, they had both of them played out of their mind, and they had to in order to beat us. So they pretty much nullified Robinson and Dest flying down the side. Like our outside was like
the other part of what they did, and it was pretty evident on the broadcast, was both Depay and Gakpo. So what has been really successful for the United States is whenever Tim Ream would get the ball, he's immediately taking a touch, looking wide to push Robinson up the outside. Gakpo would push up to stop that passing lane, and force Tim Ream to look back central, where you had Klaassen, De Roon on that side. That was not there. They took that away. That absolutely wasn't a thing. They gave it to Dest a little bit more, but I think it was a specific game plan that they had seen the United States do of pushing Robinson up that outside, and they took that away. They were very good at it.
It was awesome.
They were letting us possess the ball.
Yeah.
Because we weren't going anywhere with it. We were just passing it around and then passing it back. Especially in our own half for so much of the first half.
Well, something to be said about that is yes and no. Yes, so they did allow us to possess the ball. That being said, they allowed Tim Ream and Walker Zimmerman to possess the ball.
Right.
They did not allow Dest or Robinson. Yeah. So like during the group stage, everyone was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. If Zimmerman gets the ball, we're going to rush him because he's not good with his feet. They were totally fine with letting Ream and Zimmerman walk up the field with it. And Trey is exactly correct. They used Memphis to mark out Dest, and they used Gakpo to mark out Robinson. So they took out the wing by cutting off the passing lane to Robinson and Dest. Brilliant. I mean, that's like just being knowing going in that they allow that passing lane and they allow the wings, and all they did was say, hey, let Zimmerman and Ream have the ball. Who cares? They're, we're going to clog the middle with our three, and then we're going to cut off the passing lanes to the outside. And we did, it was great. Fair play to them.
I think we'll get deeper into this as we move forward, but I truthfully think that we got out-coached in this game. And I don't mean it in a negative hammering on Berhalter way. I think it's a Louis Van Gaal just looked at specific things that the U.S. does and picked it apart. Yeah. Both of the goals in the first half were the exact same. And in the second half, they identified something, Anthony bid on it, and the guy was wide open. So I think these were specific tactics that he put in place to exploit the U.S.
And we've talked about the revolving door of personnel. We're trying to find our starting 11. We're trying to find how we're gonna line up. Generally the system has stayed the same through Greg's mind, but I think that when you only have a few games to iron out the playbook, and you don't have a super deep bench where you can put different players in place to have a variety of play, it makes you more susceptible to getting picked apart, like what you're describing, right? It's like
it does,
you only got a handful of tricks to
the other
they
part
need
of this
to
is
out,
that
right?
You are getting into, as you get deeper and deeper into this tournament, you're getting into experience level coaches,
right?
That it's not just system against system. It is individual matchup against individual matchup, and it's fluid, and they're able to coach this at a much higher level than just put this person against this person. And I'm not bashing Greg. I'm just saying Louis Van Gaal and this team that has been together for that much longer.
Yeah.
He looked at specific tendencies of specific players on the U.S. and said, we can do this to them. We can do this in this moment. This is how we're going to set it up. We're going to take the first 15 minutes. I want you to be here. And as soon as we get this type of play, this is what you do, which is expert coaching. You know, it's not just, we didn't get played off the field.
Oh, no.
We had 3 lapses and they capitalized on them. I mean,
Those
even in
lapses, we looked tired. I mean,
yeah, but at the
9
same
players started all 4 matches in 13 days.
Right. But also keep in mind that I don't exactly have the shot numbers up in front of me. Total shots, 17 to 11. Well, but also we had 58% possession of 42. And in the Dutch, in their first 3 group games, they didn't take that many shots, but they just converted them. So they're capitalizing on their shots and on their chances.
Yeah.
So they're lethal where we
absolutely
weren't. Pulisic.
And we talked about that in the
Second
Ecuador
minute.
game. Like Ecuador had during the Ecuador game, they had 0 shots inside the box. They had 2 total shots on goal. Both of them were outside the box, and they tied them 1-1. You know, we're talking about the second minute. Pulisic has a one-on-one with the keeper. What happens if he puts that away? I mean, how many? We'll get to our goal, but we had opportunities just like they had opportunities. But their opportunities, they put them away. I mean. That is literally. I mean, that is.
I'm going to get into that.
We have like 2.
I don't know if now is
the
the
2
moment,
major
but-
things. Yeah, I mean the major things is we've always talked about is like we are not putting away goals. We had in 3 games in our group stage we had 2 goals, and we made it out. And then we score 1 goal here on 17 shots. Like, did we have So you're talking about stats. I mean, we can get into this later, but we had 17 shots on goal. We had 3 big chances. They had 3 technically big chances.
8 shots on goal, 17 shots. Yep.
Yeah. And yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 8 shots on goal is better than I don't have the stats in front of me, but I wonder if we even had 8 shots on goal in the entire group stage combined.
Yeah, maybe not.
So it's not
I don't think we did. I don't think we did. I
don't
just
think we did either.
Based on what I heard in the Iran game, they said something like it was the 4th shot on goal or something.
Yeah.
In there, so
like the Iran game, we came out of the
multiple-
woodwork and shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Multiple of those shots, though, were right at the keeper.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, he was 6'8".
yeah. So if you kick it near the goal, it's a shot at the keeper. Yeah. Some of Pulisic's shots weren't great.
Yeah, that was a heartbreaker. What about you guys want to talk about the first Dutch goal?
Yeah, and I think that speaks to. I think it speaks to what Haas was saying. It seemed like we were tired, and I don't think we were as physically tired as we were kind of. I think it was like mentally tired. I think Greg spoke to. He said off the jump like, "Hey, we have group stage matches. That's one part of the tournament, and then we have the bonus games in a different part of the tournament." So he divided it into 2. So we prepared for the 3 group stages, and we got out of the group stages. So it's like, all right, we go to the second game because I honestly felt like the Netherlands also looked physically tired. I just think they mentally were a little bit more locked in this game. Not a little bit, a lot more locked in this game. And literally those 3 goals are, in my opinion, like a mentally locked in veteran doing what they should, and while our guy mentally turned off.
Maturity.
Well, yeah, the first goal, Adams was jogging behind, was it Dumfries? No.
Depay.
No, it was Memphis.
Depay. Yeah, Memphis. And like the whole way down the field, just jogging behind him, making no effort to catch up to him, which led to him being wide open in the box for Dumfries to cut it back to him.
Yeah.
Yes and no. Yes and no. I agree. I mean, you can say that, but then there's also no other Dutch player ahead of him, and you got Riemann Zimmerman continuing to drop deeper. And like I said, I think this is Louis van Gaal recognizing something that, take it deep. Robinson will chase you down. He'll overcommit, cut it back to the top of the 18, and the runner will be right there. And that's the exact same thing that happened with the second goal as well for Daily Blend.
Right.
All-
at the
Robinson
end of the
all-
first half.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. Okay. So all 3 goals were not something crazy. They were literally man marking errors.
Yeah.
Those were the three goals. The three goals were man marking errors, and that is, the bread and butter of defense, defense 101. They were guys that were either unmarked or they lost their mark, which is, I hate to throw shade on the U.S. back line or the back or just defense in general, including the six, including Tyler. But, we let one goal in on a penalty in 3 games against, 3 really good teams. Our defense is solid. Like the U.S., as far as like Ream and Zimmerman, they're not the best players in the world, but they were playing awesome. This specific game is just, they were able to, I just felt like our guys just mentally just turned off for a second, and you got to see what happens when you turn off for a second or two against people that are, extremely good. Like, this is not Honduras away. This is not Panama at home. This is, you got Memphis Depay, you've got Gakpo, you've got these guys playing either for a long time and at a high level, or people that are up and coming. And it seems like Adam should have marked Memphis on the way back. He just jogged right behind him. They were literally 5 feet apart. And then when he scored, and that's at the halfway line, they were 5 feet apart when he scored. So like, he didn't get back to mark Memphis. In my opinion, I think it actually was Adams should have gotten back to get goal side of that guy. That is defense 101. That being said, Memphis is a striker, and it should have been sorted out by Ream or Zimmerman, by one of our center backs. That being said, maybe Ream should have been marking, because I think there was 2 people in the box or 3 people in the box, and Memphis, all he did was, I wouldn't even say he held his run. He just came in at that time. Zimmerman maybe should have came out, or Ream to step to that guy. But, okay, let's give credit where credit's due. Prior to that entire sequence going down the field, that was beautiful soccer, period.
So I'll correct myself a little bit. I'm rewatching it right now, and exactly what they did was they sent 2 runners into the box.
Yeah, there was more. Yeah.
And Ream and Zimmerman sucked in with it, and Memphis kind of dropped back to that and was wide open because that Tyler Adams didn't track back with the runner to fill the space. Yeah. So.
And you're not. And you're not wrong in saying it's not necessarily his job to be marking somebody at the penalty spot.
He needed to fill the space.
Yeah, exactly.
They showed a graphic at half. I don't know, remember what it was showing exactly, like speed, whatever it was showing, but it highlighted Adams not getting back.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah.
Which again, he has been the best player on the United States team. Period. Period. And it is okay to make a mistake. We know he hustles. We know his soccer IQ is extremely high. He knows to get goal side of that guy, which is why I said, when you look at these goals, when you isolate them, it seems like it was a individual error. Like it was individual errors,
4 matches in 13 days.
Yeah, it's rough. And that also speaks to our depth, like the depth of our back line. And I'll get into this later, but I mean, you also got to think over this entire tournament, you can be like, who was our anchor on the back line? And we're all going to be like, Tim Ream. Tim Ream in the back 4 was definitely our anchor. And it's cool, because he wasn't called in for 20 camps. He was just thrown in last minute. And the fact that we expect him to come back and know how Walker Zimmerman plays and know how Tyler Adams plays, even though he doesn't play with these people, is a stretch. And I think that speaks more to something I'm going to talk about later.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. This is where I think just tactically, I think tactically we just got worked. I really think the little tweaks that the Netherlands did, and the fact that we didn't take advantage of the chances that we had,
correct,
is at the end of the day what knocked us out. We had a lot of chances. We had a lot of big chances. This game could have been 2-2 easily, and then it's a completely different look. So I'm not going to kill Tim Ream. I'm not going to,
No. That
they
wasn't on
weren't
Tim
letting
Ream.
in a ton of goals. I just think this was the Dutch are known to be tactical. They're known for total football. That's exactly what you ran into here. And, we weren't physically outplayed. I
No.
really think just mentally, the players on the field outplayed the U.S.
I agreed. Completely agree.
Anything specific to add to the second goal? I mean, these are overarching thoughts. And I think that they apply, right? Get game wide, but just going through the first half, they got another one in right before the half.
Gun
That
punch.
sucked.
One.
Yeah.
Absolute
Dest
gun
lost Glind on that one.
Yeah, I think, did he slip? I haven't watched it. I watched it a bunch and I can't remember. It's evading me right now, but I feel like he just, fainted out left and then cut back right. And then he slipped for a second and that gave him a second to put it in. I also,
nope. I just
he just beat him.
Didn't. Yeah, he just didn't pay attention to him.
Yeah. So, and I want to say this also, we needed, and I think I said this prior, I think that I said this going into this game, or at least I said it to myself at night, staring into the mirror. We really, really, really needed Dest to have an awesome game because he has been lights out. Like he has been getting the ball in the back and progressing the ball forward as if he was a 6 as a right back. Like he has been phenomenal and he was absolute dog barf this entire game. He was the lowest rated person by a long shot, almost by an entire point. And this speaks to that. And this is why Ben's a Dest hater comes from. It's like sometimes strictly just man marking, like, hey man, don't let this guy, and Daley Blend's like my age. He's like 100 years old. He's not fast. He's not quick.
Yeah,
and
but this is Dest against the system that he came up in. These people, they know Dest. They've played with Dest. So the fact that he came up in the Netherlands and in their youth system and just decided, I mean, I don't remember how many years ago, but somewhat recently committed to the U.S. So
also fact check.
They just shut him down.
Blend is 32 and Ben Schreiber is 40.
32 as well. No, we don't need to talk about anything more. I'm 32. I mean, my hairline's 40, but 32 is cool.
Yeah,
I mean, 1 out of 4 games Dest struggled in, and he still had some decent moments.
Yeah, he still progressed the ball pretty well. I don't know. I just think defensively, especially to let Blend score. He's 32. Man, I thought he was 50.
Yeah, but once again, it was the same kind of play. I mean,
and it was the kind of
you can be. How many times have we played people who are older, but their mind has not gone away, and they are a nightmare to play against because you can run all over the God's green earth, and they're just going to touch the ball past you, or they're always in the correct position.
Yeah, cool.
Fair
play.
Yeah.
You got to wonder with the proximity to the half, like if guys are checking out, we're waiting for the whistle kind of thing. Like, boy, did we need to go into that half 1-0, right?
Agreed.
Same way I just had the
be
big
able to
chance.
regroup,
Yep.
come out, like maybe get one fast, something like that. But seeing the second goal was a pretty tough blow, almost the worst blow. Until later, but that was tough. So coming out of halftime, we made some subs. Let's kind of run through that and then talk through a little bit about the second half.
Yeah, sure. So and what I was talking off air to everybody, we'll start with the United States. The only sub we made is we took off Ferreira, who is basically played as a false 9. That's what he is a false 9. I didn't think Ferreira had a terrible first half. He was a little bit invisible. I didn't think his touch was bad. His hold-up play was okay. His ball playing was okay, but the game did not call or need a false 9. The problem is we subbed out Ferreira and we put in Reyna. I was extremely
Finally.
excited. I can't. I think all of us, Trey, you were on board with this, right? I still am on board with it
100%.
post game. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
But my issue, burn me at the stake for this, is that again, don't play people out of position. And if I'm not playing Reyna on the wing, I'm playing him as a number 10 in the middle, which I guess you could say he played as a false 9, which is could be a 10, but you're asking Reyna to come on the field. You're taking off a striker and you're saying you're the striker now, but also drop deep and get the ball. Who is he playing it to? Like, I just feel like you're setting someone up for failure if you're playing them out of position.
Well, I think to counteract that argument that you just said, what the Netherlands were doing, man marking and restricting the passes through the center, was a reason that you saw a player like Reyna come in to be able to have somebody else to combine going forward to hopefully be able to break that press.
Sure.
We can argue whether it worked or not, but I think that was the reasoning.
I think it did and it didn't. I think a lot of this game is, it was a very tactical game. It was a very, chess matchy kind of game. Bringing in, Reyna, you've got a guy who can get the ball, square up, and kind of like take it at people. And I think even towards the end of the game, now that we're into the second half, like towards the end of the game, we saw him drop deeper and deeper. And he was on like the back right. He was back like where the right fullback is. He was dropping, almost as deep as Tyler Adams to get the ball, which is awesome, which is what I personally want to see in a person like Gio Reyna or a number 10. But again, setting up in a 4-3-3 was very it's difficult to have somebody be a proper playmaker who can get the ball and distribute it when the highest person up is supposed to be that person, because you got Weah who is kind of pressing the line, and you have Pulisic who also likes to drop back and get the ball. So nobody is really putting pressure on Ake and Van Dijk and Timber, which is their back 3.
So in the 67th, we had Brendan Aronson and Haji Wright come in.
Okay. So that's like, and another thing.
And Weah and McKinney went out.
Sure. Also, at the beginning of the second half, we subbed in Reyna. Obviously, we're watching the U.S. broadcast. That was the big to do. But what the Netherlands did is they actually, they have 3 people in the middle, just like we have 3 people in the middle. They subbed out 2 of them. So the heart and spine of their team, they subbed out 2 out of 3 people. And what I asked everybody prior to us starting to record is like, well, I remember in the first half, I remember Klaassen because he is bald and he looks like, what were you saying? Someone here was saying he looks like somebody. It was like some character. Anywho, so he got subbed off and they brought in a guy named Cooper Miners, who I'm not terribly familiar with, who plays for Atlanta. I'm sorry. And they brought in Steve Bergwijn. And Steve Bergwijn, like I said in the prior podcast, played for Spurs and is an extremely dangerous winger striker. So they took off a center mid, like one of their hearts, and brought in another striker. So starting the second half, the U.S. is down 2-0, facing Memphis Depay, facing Gakpo, and facing Steven Bergwijn. Those 3 might be the second or third like strongest strikers that we could have faced in this entire tournament. And I don't even know who they play. I mean, I think I believe Gakpo may have came back to like a playmaker number 10, but we made a sub and we're like, yay, Reyna's number 1. And then they also made 2 changes at half, even being up 2, they brought on their third most dangerous striker. So it's a very interesting move by Louis van Gaal to do that. And I'm still trying to digest kind of what he was trying to do, because I thought in the second half, we went after it, we had a pretty good go at it.
But I think exactly what he was trying
shift.
Yeah. I think what he was trying to do was force us to play defense, which would slow us down to play offense. He wasn't going to let us run at him. Yeah.
Yeah, which is what I want Greg to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to kill Greg. He put Rain in.
No.
He made some tactical changes, and Aronson and Haji coming in a little bit later. And I think that's a little bit of hyperbole with talking about Bergwijn and Depay and Gakpo up top being top three. I mean,
dude.
possibly, but you've got England with people they can run at you, and Brazil people they can run at you. So, I mean,
I said top 3. Top 5? Can we agree on top 5?
He just wants you to name another team.
yeah, I mean,
Argentina
Sure,
with
sure.
Angel Maria and
they did something extremely offensively dangerous that was going to challenge us, and force us to sit a little bit deeper and not be able to throw as many numbers forward. Cool, good on you, Dutch.
yeah. And here's the thing. I thought they did a great job defending Gakpo. I mean, no, he has a 7.9 rating. He did really well, but we did shut his chances down, and he has scored in every single game except this game. So, Greg did a good job setting up against him. It just so happens that, other people scored, and Bergwijn also was the lowest rated person for the Dutch. And
you mean how we let Dumfries completely go off and
Well, we're not quite there yet. Let's talk about our goal, which was kind of like a circus. Although I felt like when it went in, we had kind of deserved one by then.
Agreed.
Anyway. It was like the last couple shots were so close. The fact that
Haji Wright's terrible touch in the 75th minute when the Netherlands gifted him a ball.
that's the one. Yeah, how do you miss? I mean, I felt the same way with the Pulisic look earlier. He just
I don't want to
frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind they scored 3, so adding that one.
Yeah. So we scored. So we scored. Haji Wright, 76th minute. It was total circus ball. Did anybody think that it actually went in real time? Because I thought it was
no.
I thought it went over the goal.
I did. No, I could tell by the way the defender and the goalie turned around and just looked. His hands dropped.
Yeah.
Tracy was the first person to take off his shirt at Lower.com Stadium and was on the table
And
showing his butt. To
First
everybody.
person ever.
It was amazing.
First person ever. First and only. And that was the
So I
last
missed the rest of the
didn't
game
it?
after getting kicked out, but
Yeah. So it was. So let's take a step back. So we're down 2-0, like we were saying before. Reyna came on at half, and he did change the game. And he again, I'll reiterate, he is our best player. Period. Like, he has the highest ceiling. They couldn't take the ball off of him. Nobody could. Like, when he ran at people, it doesn't seem like he's quick, but he's quick. He's like one of those type of players. Brendan Aronson came on in the 67th with Haji Wright. So at this point, we're throwing caution to the wind. We're running Haji Wright up top, trying to stretch the back line. And we brought in Brendan Aronson. And here's what drives me bananas. We brought Brendan Aronson in for Weah. Cool. Like, Weah was gassed. Totally cool.
He looked the best on the team at that point, I thought, Weah.
Yeah. Sure. What I would have liked to have seen is, and I know this is not great, move him in. Let's see, 67th minute. Okay, so he came in. Brendan Aronson came in essentially for Weston McKennie as a central midfielder. But instead of keeping him there, they moved him to the wing and they dropped Gio Reyna back as a number 10, and then they pushed Haji Wright up front. So they didn't run 2 up top. They moved Gio Reyna to a central midfielder. Now, I feel like Gio Reyna actually is more impactful as a winger who cuts in like Pulisic. And the other thing is Brendan Aronson for Leeds has been kind of a chaotic mess in the middle as a number 10, as a playmaker. He's not a playmaker in the general sense is like he's, like Messi, where he's really good with his feet, but he's just chaotic. He's like a Molotov cocktail in the middle. So I would have liked to have seen him there and then have Pulisic on the left and also, Reyna on the right, and then have Haji Wright because, attrition, we don't have anybody else up top. That should have been our attacking moving forward. But, when you put Brendan Aronson on the right, because he's not 100% awesome with his feet, there is just, it's just a lot of wasted energy. is my opinion. Like, when you put him in the middle, he just kind of goes crazy.
The soccer playing in the World Cup, he's not 100% great with his feet. Did you guys?
He's not. He's not.
That's who our sub is.
Are we talking about Robinson right now?
Yeah, same basic thing. Is it can, but the thing is, you have in the middle. You have for the Netherlands, you had Frankie de Jong, who played lights out, who also had to play lights out to beat us. That is my opinion. I think he was one of the best players on the field. I mean, obviously Dumfries was the best player. Period. Daley Blind played out of his brain. Virgil van Dijk and Ake were okay, but Frankie
he
was
seemed like
amazing.
he was in his 30s even,
Yeah, 29. 29 minimum.
Who, Frankie?
And I want to go on record as saying, in the 75th minute, we have DeAndre Yedlin come in. And
yeah.
Oh, yeah, Daley, yeah. He's 100. Check his birth certificate. Was he born in Jamaica? Can he be president of the United States? All right, let's get this out of being political, you jerks. All right, so Yedlin comes into the 75th, and the thing is, this makes me feel. Out of all the things to take away from this game, it makes me feel very happy that Yedlin came in and played a very solid Yedlin performance for the U.S. men's national team. Like, this is what he can provide. He was awesome when he came on. He provided the hockey assist or the MLS assist to Christian Pulisic. I thought he was a breath of fresh air. That is who you should put on.
Did you watch the game?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I thought for as far as a right back, if he was always like, if he would have put on Shaq Moore, I roll.
Oh, no. I'm fine with Yedlin being on. I thought he played well, but.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't think he played lights out. But if we're going to lose, and this is obviously going to be the last time he gets called up, he has been, with us he's been the longest tenured person. And to see him 29. Come on and play well, and his second touch, his first touch was awesome. I can't remember, it was in their attacking third, and then his second touch was the one-time through ball to Pulisic, which was chef's kiss. And then Pulisic played it in, chef's kiss, and Haji Wright tripped and fell and scored a goal, which is not
You're
chef's
so drunk
kiss.
right now, I swear. You're talking about Yedlin being the most tenured person at what'd you say, Haas, 29? Tim Ream's 6 years older than him.
Oh, but if you're talking caps and U.S. men's national team,
sure, he played 2 games in the World Cup 8 years ago.
Yeah, but Tim Ream didn't play in the World Cup. Yeah, as far tenured, that's the correct Oxford definition of tenured, right?
I did not want to carry this mantle. Maybe I think Trey thinks that you were putting too many coasters in the bathroom.
Hey, listen, I don't know who put those Upper 90 Club podcasts in the bathroom. It could have been anybody.
Yeah.
No,
I handed them to a guy named John.
You guys were at lower.com, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. And so what was
we can call it Club Lower.
Congrats to the crew. They put on a good event. Everybody there was fantastic. Good crowd. Pub was packed. Thank you, crew and lower.com, for the appropriate pricing of beverages.
Yes.
Yeah, actually.
And food.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Good selection. Good food trucks. Really good.
Although I couldn't fill up my
Tasties?
World Cup.
Oh, man. Tasties.
Great chicken.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, Tasties chicken, phenomenal.
Can we get
had a dream about it? Had a dream about it that night.
Can we? No,
yes.
We gotta see if they want to buy some ad space.
Which is fine. We're just plugging it right now. If you are listening to this pod and are ever run across Tasties, we are going to get in touch with them because they are amazing.
Only negative was my $40 World Cup glass couldn't be refilled for $3 as it could have previously.
Well, I'll fill it up for you.
Everything else was great. I could have just been pouring into it, but I wasn't.
He was doing it.
You were being goblin mode on that. Real lazy. Yes,
that was better. That was better. It's like a 7, maybe an 8.
Yeah, we're doing the wave.
Anything? Right. You guys want to actually talk about the goal? I mean,
Hodges?
No, we can move on from our goal.
move on. So
Complete
good,
fluke.
'cause
I mean, we
I
had
wanna-
so many good chances, and then that happened.
Yeah, I'll take it.
And I felt like, because at this moment it was 2-1, right? And the feeling was
75th,
okay, all right, striking distance. We don't have to win this game. We just have to reverse Columbus through this game, right? Like we have to be the team that scores late, and then we can take it from there. I kind of felt like the momentum was there for a little while, right? I mean, we had the pressure up.
That's exactly how I felt.
Yep.
I felt like I could taste it. Taste of the glory.
Tasted in my mouth.
Yeah, I felt like we had it. I mean, did everybody else feel like Haas? Did you feel like that?
Look,
It felt like we had some momentum, although
this is
it was
the point I've been
short-lived.
waiting to make. And it is like when that Dumfries goal, you know, I can see it in my mind. Robinson just picks a man and doesn't look back.
Yeah.
That goal, what I keep coming back to is big brother dunking on little brother. It's just like that. Dumfries just strolls up, knows he's completely undetected,
Like nobody.
and just drains this goal. And it was like, oh, they're better than us. It was just like, after all the dancing, it just kind of felt like, oh, we were never going to win this game. And
Yeah.
Earlier I said, that was the worst blow, the second goal. The third goal was like, oh no, we're never going to win this game. Like, and we never were going to win the game. And it sucked. It really sucked. Great goal.
They gave Blind so much time on the ball to find him wide open on the backside.
Just totally dunked on.
Yeah. Again, it's go ahead, Trey.
Here's what I don't understand. And we've kind of like hit and missed on certain people and fought mob and certain player ratings and stuff. I don't understand how Dest is a 5.6 and Robinson on the other side is a 7.2.
Yeah.
Robinson allowed Dumfries twice to play the ball back to the center and assist on 2 goals in the first half, and then completely lost his man on the third goal, all while being taken out of the play by position and not providing anything offensively.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get, and I'm not hating on Miles Robinson. He had a good tournament. He has a bright future.
Oh, he's
a good
injured.
player.
But Anthony Robinson.
Oh, so sorry. Yeah, Anthony Jedi. But I don't understand how people come out of this game and aren't looking at him going, man, he just really didn't play well. And looking at Dest on the other side.
Crosses.
Right.
Yeah.
They took
I'm
him
just
out of
looking
the
at
game.
the stats now.
Yeah, I didn't think Dest was great. This is why I reacted the way
2
I
out
did
of 9.
earlier, Ben, was Dest didn't play great, but they worked Robinson.
Agreed.
They worked him on both the goals and then left him, and then he completely blanked. Like literally was looking around going, was that my guy? What, that guy? Mine?
Yeah. So, and again, I haven't seen it recently. I think for that, I genuinely think that there was only one person in the box during that cross.
Nope.
And 3 people, like both of our center backs and
well.
Robinson, were marking the guy that was on the 6, and no one was
didn't
watching
turn around.
back post.
He didn't turn around.
Yeah, but that also was because he had so much. Blind had so much time on the ball that
So much time.
Yeah, that
What?
I mean,
Once again, you're drunk.
no.
A defender, you have to know a player is on the back. If that is your position, you have to know that somebody is there.
Oh, totally.
The person can outplay you. That's fine. But to not pick him up, and then the cross comes in, it goes over your head, it gets volleyed in, and you turn around and go, oh crap.
Oh yeah, it was. I'm not saying it wasn't Robinson's fault. What I'm saying is, at the time when Blenda originally got the ball, and they were looking, Dumfries was behind the play, and he had enough time to so what Robinson did, if you watch it, he pinches in to guard the guy that is inside the box, and he had enough time where Dumfries was able to run into the box to fill that space. So in theory, he should have taken that, couple seconds and been like, okay, cool, this guy's guarded by two other people, and then drifted back post to mark his man. But yeah, I mean, Dumfries had 2 assists and a goal.
I would agree
how
with you,
Robinson,
except for he didn't even turn his head to look.
It's a bad. I mean, it's easy to
that's
criticize
the
the replay,
problem.
but it was a tough replay to watch for sure. Like, what are you doing?
Ben, go back and watch it, and you'll be like, "Ooh,
oh, for sure."
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I also think if you're on the left side, and you have Robinson there, also Pulisic is not someone who comes back and defends, and that's also a problem when you have a wing.
This goes back to what I talked about earlier when I started the conversation about them beating up and Van Hall looking at this team and going, "This is the guy we can attack."
Yeah,
this was another part of that scenario that they just knew they could attack him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's one voice we have not heard from. Mort. I don't know all the details of what he's doing. All I know is that he, we don't go to the World Cup, but every 8 years anymore. He chose to take this opportunity where he could have been at the stadium watching the game with you guys. And he went on some trip. I think he's in Cincinnati. Full goblin mode. Goes down and was nice enough to give us his reactions via voice memos. This episode brought to you by voice memos for when you're going goblin mode for your podcast. Yeah. So for now, let's throw to Mort and hear what he had to say.
So fucking happy I got to see J-Mo's face again. Awesome. Made me so happy. That the best we could do when the game was on the line. And game of margins.
That's what happens.
Like couple of bad passes.
We keep flinging balls into the box. The Dutch are too good.
Yep. Hey, good World Cup. Now we're going to drink some beers.
Yeah, great. You super great. Mort, you're a genius.
I was right.
I was right. And full disclosure, we don't know what he said. We're just going to cut him in because we're going to get this out tonight.
He said. We have
he just sits there and he's like, "I'm right. I don't know if anybody knows this, but I'm totally right." I don't know. His accent's so hard to do. Every time I do an accent, I sound Jamaican.
That was definitely not Norwegian.
No. Thank you, Mort. That was important and informative. We will file that under the Mort was right segment. Okay, so let's talk about blame. Hold on. I think Mort has one more thing to say. Mort, what would you like to say, my friend? The Goblin King, take it away.
In fairness, I didn't see us doing much wrong. In terms of the lineup, I thought it was fine. He brought up Reina. Reina grew into the game like we expected he would. Just execution. And taking the chances when you have the moment. The Dutch were clinical. And we just wasted. We could have taken the lead. The game would have been totally different. We have chances later on. Couple bad through balls. Pulisic had some really bad passing. Otherwise, a pretty good game. But except for the defensive errors, I don't see a whole lot to be ashamed of in this game here. We need a number 9. We need a good number 9. We have to figure out how to score goals because it is our Achilles heel still. That said, you can't let in 3 goals. You're not going to win a game at this level if you let in 3 goals. So, man, sad it's over. I think we have something good going, though. I think if we have a couple of extra players, a couple extra depth, some people coming through the next years, need a striker, and then we'll be great.
Hi, I'm Mort. I know I'm right. I don't know if you guys remember. Okay, anyways,
right.
we're talking about blame.
Right.
Hey,
That's
Mort,
his
I don't know if you can
accent,
see
right?
us, but we're making the hand motions you
I'm
make.
a mime.
I'm a mime.
Oz got it. Oz got it.
Also, I just double checked during that amazing break that we had. Yeah, it was Robinson's fault 1,000% on that third goal. I just watched it. It's like
we knew that.
Confirmed.
yeah, it's like Benny Hill. It's like the Benny Hill song.
Yeah. Once again, that goes to Ben. How drunk are you?
Yeah.
Goblin
That
mode,
was so
man.
bad.
Many people don't know this. Totally his fault. All right.
Woof.
Okay, so let's talk about blame. Was it Greg's fault? Is it just getting outplayed? You know, how do we feel about this team and this coach going into the next cycle? What do you think?
Oh boy.
That's a complicated question. I guess for me, it is what were my expectations? And my expectations for this tournament were to get out of the group, which we did. Played well, looked good, young team.
Played our
I
worst
don't
game
know.
out of the group.
Say what?
So I just said, we played our worst game out of group stage.
Sure.
Out of all the games, that was by far the worst performance.
Yeah, I think you have a young team with a couple of glaring holes that over the next 4 years need to be figured out. I don't want to blame Greg because he set this team up and they had chances. The chances were there
Agreed.
to score goals, and they didn't score goals. The system worked. So I don't know. I'm not heartbroken by this result. I'm really not. I feel like we got beat by a better team that's going to go a little bit deeper. And yeah, I mean,
I'm
I don't
with
know.
you. I'm with you. We have 300 million people. About half of them are men, right? I don't know all the demos, but we need to find someone who can score the goals. We didn't score the goals.
Yeah.
That's what it boils.
Yep.
Don't disagree with me. Like
Especially in that game. Especially in that game.
And we've talked about it before, though. Is that, yes.
Yeah.
There needs to be somebody who can put the ball in the back of that in those times. Christian Pulisic is not an out-and-out striker.
That's not
He
his
is not.
thing.
That is not. And so wasn't Landon Donovan. So don't give me this
Someone
Landon Donovan's the
has
best
to
men's
be.
U.S. team.
What's Brian McBride doing?
Oh.
Well, so what? We had 3 total goals in the
Love you,
tournament.
Brian.
That's it.
Yeah.
4 games.
One by Haji Wright. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Who
Pulisic scored and Weah scored.
Pulisic, duh.
Right.
Yep.
So
Weah. Weah's goal was great too.
So
yeah,
Pulisic
but still,
had 2 assists and a goal. It makes me happy, just like the Yedlin thing, that Pulisic had all this pressure and he was able to, if we score 3 goals, he was involved in all 3.
Ooh.
Boom.
And pressure makes diamonds.
So pressure makes diamonds.
How many shots were even taken by someone playing in a striker role throughout the tournament on the U.S.?
But here's what
would
I'm
be
saying.
a good question.
Our system does not allow for a proper 9. I'll never stop saying that. The way Greg plays with this team, the 4-2-3-1 when he was with the crew, our number 9 scored all the time. He scored on headers. He scored on the ground. But on this,
And I'm going to stop you right there. And that's exactly what I'm going to say is if the player is there, the player will score the goals. If the player's not there, you can't blame the system.
I don't know. I mean, Ferreira has not been scoring recently, but you have Haji, right? I mean, never once has this system set up for a 9.
But
And none of these players are Kai Kamara.
and
Not even as good.
and
Haji's
if
scoring? Sargent's scoring?
someone
scoring?
has to score though, even if it's not a 9, right? Like we're
Sure.
sitting here saying that. So what are you saying? Because you a minute ago said Pulisic is not is not set up to score. He's not geared to score, right? Like that's not how he's built.
That's
right?
not his. That's not his. That's not
you said
No,
it in
to me, he is a winger, not your center forward striker.
All right. So if we're sitting here saying, okay, well, we needed someone to score and it needs to be a 9, and then we take another step back and say, well, the system does not afford for a 9 to score. So who will score? Because we spent a lot of time talking about stats and tactics and approaches, and there's only one stat line that matters.
This is what I said a few minutes ago. That player does not exist on this roster. It is a hole in this team. That player is not on this team.
Completely agree.
But but what we're saying is that we're okay with the team. We're okay with the system. We need to find the player, and otherwise we're good to rinse, repeat, hone, add chemistry, build on what we've done, and try again when we're at home. We're not looking for a rebuild next cycle.
I personally do not like the 4-3-3 system. I don't like the way he has. I don't like it. Never liked it. Not once.
I think it will morph with the players he has.
It should.
Yeah. Well, and it has. It's not what he ran in Columbus. He will continue to make changes to it, but he can look at a roster and tell you, I don't have this player, so I need to set it up this way.
Do you think he's going to have that opportunity?
Ooh.
Is he going to be around for this next cycle?
He's married to the system. I completely think that's the truth.
Yeah,
he's not going to not be married.
Haas
to the
is
system.
asking whether or not he's going to have a job.
I read and I believe that he probably is going to try to step down as the head coach, but kind of take a different role in the team, which would be, the problem. Same thing with the crew during the season is like, oh, cool, I want Porter out. Oh, cool. Who do you want to replace him with? And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola. Like, we don't have anybody in who's going to replace him that's going to make the team better or play different. I don't have an answer for that. So that's, go ahead, Trey.
I do not want to see Greg leave. I do not want to see Greg not be the coach. But if Greg chooses to say, I've had my time, it's been 4 years now at this point, 2017 probably, early 18. I've had my time. I'm going to move on and hand the reins to somebody else. I'm okay with that. But
do it soon.
It should not be
Correct.
Because you lost to the Netherlands. That should not be why.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah,
I agree.
We
with
were
that.
supposed to lose. I mean,
No
I
one
went into that
expected
game
us.
hoping.
Yeah, Americans keep forgetting that no one expected us to get out of the group, and also no one expected us to give it to England and give it to Netherlands the way we did. I mean, we can all agree that we had in theory a bad game against the Netherlands, but we still outshot them. Our XG was the exact same, and we had the exact same amount of big chances.
we had great chances.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like we were played off the field. It's like we kind of felt like we were in it, but we played bad. Anthony Robinson had a bad game. Dest had a terrible
bad
game.
first touches.
Yeah.
Bad moments, losing people.
Yeah. I mean, Adams, one of the best players who were like, oh, I'm linked with Man United now. Like, he had a bad game. He didn't even follow a guy back. So we were able to play that bad, and still everyone's like, you guys are good. And it's like, well, we didn't even play that
Which
good.
is why I will go back and say that's why I like Greg. I don't blame the system.
I like Greg.
I don't.
I don't like the system. I still don't like the system.
Yeah, but the system is – anyways, this is probably a broader topic, but my view on it is he morphs it based on who he has. Like, we all view it from an outside going, he's stuck to this. And it's like, no, he's not. But it evolves so slowly. This is not what he played in 2018 when he came in and he was bringing in Will Trapp.
Well, to be fair, though, my bigger qualm is the 2 games before we even played Wales in the World Cup. We had 5 people on the field that weren't even on the team. or like didn't even play. So like
this is a team that also tied England and looked the better team.
And they played a 4-4-2.
Sure.
We're the only team England did not score against.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're recording this
In all
on
their games they've
Sunday,
played
and
so far.
they beat Senegal today 3-0. Like
So
it wasn't a beating like 3-0, but they have the ability to do that.
But yeah, I don't think I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I would kind of hope that Greg would step down.
Or like
to
step up.
hand it over to something else to progress this team. But I'm not going to be disappointed if he doesn't.
Yeah, I think his man management, like behind the scenes, is actually pretty good. I think he's a very kind person. Like I think a lot of the players in the locker room respect him. You know, I mean, maybe John Brooks doesn't. Wow. But
Alleged.
Yeah, allegedly.
We don't know anything.
Yeah, I don't, and that's a whole nother topic, which I'll stand behind Greg on that one. Sorry. But I think his man management is awesome. I think he has a lot of like endearing, awesome qualities as a coach. The only thing I think he faults at is in-game management, period.
I don't know. I thought Reyna could have been given more minutes. I thought Aronson could have been given more minutes, get these guys some more experience in a World Cup. Thinking about 2026. But I agree with you. The in-game management, I feel like, is probably
Sure.
the bigger. Like,
Yeah.
this was the only game he brought someone on at half. And what did Reyna get? He got 45 minutes there. What, he had like 10 other minutes in the entire thing?
Yeah.
I think if you're going to make a change, you do it now. You give that coach 4 years.
For sure.
U.S. soccer
And
won't
then
do that.
because 8 years to be a coach, to be the head coach of a national team is a very long time. And if you want a new message, something else that the players aren't just tuning out, this would be the time to bring that person in.
Yeah, I think him kind of passing the torch, you know, like he came in, he beat Mexico twice. He won silverware. He got him to the World Cup. He took him to the round of 16. I think it would be admirable for him to kind of like pass the torch on to somebody else to take them further.
Technically, he won the Gold Cup, which is goldware.
Yeah, but it's silver gold,
sure.
or what's it
I
called?
think they call it brass.
Fool's gold?
So
Nailed it.
I would not be surprised if they try to get some kind of, and this is like just totally, you tell me if I'm wrong, but American, we have the tournament at home. We need the Ford Coach of the Year to coach this team, right? Like, because it's not about wins, right?
GMC, he drives a truck.
Right, like we want like who could it be? Like Peyton Manning to coach the U.S. men's national team. You know, like I just feel like from a purely toilet world marketing standpoint, Greg does not have the sex appeal that, you know, Papa John would pre controversy. You know
what? Post controversy.
Yeah. Be like, better ingredients, better soccer. Papa John, you know, like I don't know. I'm just thinking like it wouldn't surprise me if they tried to make some kind of splashy is the word. Higher
Paris Hilton.
Yeah, exactly. exactly. But we would, you know, we'd rename her Freedom Hilton. And
yeah.
You know,
yeah.
It's all free.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Paris. Isn't that in a different country?
That's my take. That's my take. If they're gonna rehire someone, I think it will be because of the spotlight, not because of this performance.
I just don't have a good answer for someone who I would rather see. I mean, I really like Jesse Marsh, but I also personally want to see him succeed in Europe.
Well, and I think he wants to as well.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do that because I
don't know if he has the
I think he's
desire
kind of
to.
the perfect mix of like Greg Berhalter and Klinsmann, where it's like I've got some tactics, but I got a lot of like balls, and I'm just gonna like put them together. And I don't even think he's I don't know. Trey, what do you think? I don't know.
The first person that came to mind was Curtin from Philadelphia, Jim Curtin.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's in the same ilk as Berhalter. He's not going to bring. He's a phenomenal coach, but he's not going to bring something different to the table.
You're
I
absolutely
don't
right.
know.
Yeah, I go ahead.
You have to have somebody that can be able to coach up and do something different with these high level players.
That's it. You just said it.
Yeah.
Like, it's Berhalter was able to overachieve with the Columbus, like,
Sure.
like we don't get the big players, and like Curtin's able to take, these young players, and like he's able to like see what he has and do it. But as far as like, the U.S. has on paper an awesome team, and I don't know who I would want to see coach these big names. Like you got Pulisic coming in, and it's like I'm used to coaching, Diaz. He's just kind of chill. But it's like you have these like high big names, and it's like, well, how do you get these guys to play well together?
Well, and then international is a completely different ball game. But at the same point, we don't have to qualify.
Yeah,
so that's true.
There is no octagon. There is no crazy hex or anything that they're going to have to fight through.
Fancy.
So
numbers.
they can literally just build towards stuff.
Yeah.
So
we have so many young players that are going to be in their prime.
Dude, it's insane.
For this next World Cup. I mean, the puzzle pieces need to come together. We need to fill in the gaps where we're missing things up front. Center back. I mean, Zimmerman and Ream are not going to be playing in the next World Cup.
No, they'll be dead by then.
Yeah, we all will.
So it's exciting. I mean, that's what I come away with from the whole thing is excitement for the next one.
Yeah.
See these players develop and continue to play a lot of minutes with their clubs, leading, these next 4 years.
Thanks for bringing it back around, Haas, because you're absolutely right. I said this on the last one. It's been 8 years since we've seen a team play in the World Cup. I felt like I knew the team by the second or third game, in the same way that we knew the team when they were in or wherever they were. Where were they? South Africa or Brazil? Was it Brazil? Yeah, it was Brazil. That's
14.
right. Brazil.
Olympics were there too.
And what a gift to be able to watch these 4 games and the tournament in general. It's just such an awesome time to be able to tune in every day, especially with the U.S. playing. It's been awesome. And I miss the feeling, and I appreciate the games that we got to see, for sure. Okay, so I wanted to. Are we good on the game, the cup? I think we're gonna take next week off. We have an interview that we did a couple weeks back with Ty Phillips, the manager of supporter relations, with the crew. We're going to publish next week, and then we're going to do a World Cup wrap up after that and kind of go through the bracket and see how poorly we did. Anyone have anything else to add about just the U.S. specifically before I jump to the last closing topic here?
I think it's something to say that, we got out of the group stage. Every single game, we were pretty positive. Like, oh, Wales, we should have crushed them. England, wow, we were actually better than them. Iran, okay, we won. It was kind of rough. And then we played the Dutch and lost, but we were like, hey, we played bad, but still on paper beat them. And we felt pretty good. The fact that after each game, I was like, wow, we could have done a lot better is actually kind of awesome. And seeing the world also take a look at us and be like, oh, we thought you guys were actually terrible. You guys are actually like super legit. Meanwhile, Canada falls away, does nothing.
Yeah.
Mexico does nothing. Like, we stood out like a sore thumb in the most positive way, is something to take away and build on for the 2026 World Cup. And we might even get to play in the Copa America. I think they might extend that to, Mexico, Canada, and the U.S., which would be awesome, because then we get to go play all the South America guys. We'll see.
Yep. Yeah, I'll kind of second I'm proud of this team, and it's been an amazing 4 years. Watching from where we were missing out to, you look at this roster, and you have, just going down the list, players at Chelsea, Juventus, Arsenal, Norwich, Antalyaspor over in Turkey, Celtic, Fulham,
Nashville,
Leeds, 2 at Leeds, AC Milan, and actually two from Fulham, Mönchengladbach in Germany, Borussia Dortmund, and you have Valencia in Spain. So where we have progressed in the last 4 years to get to this point, it'll be fun watching the next 4 years. I know Ben listens to another show that 3 or 4 years ago, when they were tracking a lot of these players and discussing what does this team look like, there was 1 or 2 hopeful players. And I think at the time you even had, Christian Pulisic would have been 19, 20. And looking, he was still at Dortmund. And that was really it.
That was it.
Weston McKennie was still in Dallas.
Yeah, Adams was.
And now you have these guys. Yeah, Adams was still. Gio Reyna was, he was still hands and knees crawling.
Musa was still British.
Right. So
Claudio was on the team.
Also
it
crawling.
will be a lot of fun watching the next 4 years develop and see what pieces and parts can be put in from the talent that's, maybe only 15 now. Shoot, they could even be, 14, and there'll be 18 coming into the World Cup, 18 or 19.
Yeah.
So that'll be a lot of fun. That's something I'm looking forward to.
Haas, any closing thoughts?
Just a quick shout out to our current top 5 in our 2022 World Cup bracket
You just
challenge.
took the topic right away from me, going full goblin mode on me right now.
Oh,
I didn't know if it was going to get hit, so I wanted to make sure it wasn't missed.
Your voice is just like a sweet,
So
sweet
great.
honey. Just lay it on me.
So in first place, we got Mort with 1890 points.
He doesn't count, so
Nick-
go to the next one. Yep.
Yeah, does not count towards the prize. Nick U with 1830. Alfred C with 1790. Dan S 1765. And rounding out the top 5 is Jesse M with 1730. That's in the full bracket, group mode, or group stage and everything. And the
You were
second chance bracket, I think it was a struggle for a lot of people to get it filled out.
weren't you?
yeah. I mean, in fairness, you had like 6 hours to fill it out or whatever.
Oh yeah. No, this second chance bracket, it's total nonsense. It was less than 24 hours, and MLSsoccer.com, not a sponsor, horrible platform.
Will never be a sponsor.
Logs you out every 30 seconds.
Yeah. If you refresh the page, you're logged out. We can't see what anyone else has picked. You just see like a score.
Oh,
It's like
that
they
is
made
such
it up
garbage that
as
you,
they go along.
I know.
Like
I
the
know.
rules
Yeah.
and the league.
they don't have other tournaments that happen every single year that do brackets and people competing against each other to, follow.
Hashtag
and
I
see
don't
how to do
stand
things
with
properly.
MLSsoccer.com.
Nice. What was the other one? It's like we were watching in the metaverse. All right, we covered everything. Nailed it.
Tracy still needs to get in a goblin mode, but all right, Huz.
Yeah.
So go through the
we got 5 people tied for first. Multiple podcasters here.
Yep.
Mark,
Yes.
Mort,
Yes.
Dr. L, Jesse M, and Ryan P. all have 585. Then we have 2 other contestants, Ben, Podcast Boy, and Daly.
Yeah. All right. Well, so
She's been getting into it, by the way. She's been watching all these games with me these past week or so.
I bet she's
getting
talking
into
so
it,
much trash.
I would love to be a fly on the wall.
Oh man,
The cats.
The bracket.
and Oz and
It's the
Daly.
bracket that got her into it.
Yeah.
It's funny.
nice.
it's almost like betting is awesome. Anywho,
Yeah. So do we have any info on what the grand prize parenthesis
We're still
S is
building
gonna
towards
be?
it, I believe.
All right, we're still saving our pennies. We're
There
gonna
are
get something
things-
awesome. It's still
there is
TBD, right?
yeah, there is a
In the works.
crew fleece zip up, no arms, whatever it's called. We've got,
It's commonly
Trading-
We
referred
got
to as
coasters.
trading
We got
cards.
stickers.
yeah, we've got coasters you can put in urinals, and we call urinal coaster. I tried to whatever. All right, we devolved.
awesome. Okay, I think this has been good. I think this has been good. It's also been great. So
Did we talk about the game?
all right, guys. Let's catch up in a couple weeks. Good luck to Morton M. It doesn't matter how well you do. You cannot win this. You cannot win the bracket challenge.
You lose.
You will lose.
You lose.
And we'll be back after the interview with Ty next week. Until then, go everything that we care about.
Japan.
Go Japan. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oz,
go
nice,
Japan.
Nice. And go Lawless. All right. Thanks everyone for joining the club. We hope you'll listen next week and every week, even in the off season, to celebrate or commiserate. We'll save you a seat. If you like this podcast, please give us 5 stars and subscribe. You can email us at upper90clubpod@gmail.com. That's upper90clubpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at upper90clubpod. Go Crew!
It's like, but it's like 2 separate things. So it's like, it's really.
Whoever did that one was really good.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
It's like a lot. It's like,
Do it, Oz. It was Oz.
do it again.
And I'm like choking right now.
Do it. All right.
It did some weird tickle in the back of my throat.
The second